All right, so it's that time of the day again to do our monthly fireside chat. Eric Vicker with All Star Dental Academy, Dr. Michael Goldberg with Practice Perfect Systems, and we decided to we're gonna do some advice today on how to get there because Dr. Goldberg is you just celebrated your 50th wedding anniversary. Yeah, you got married when you were like 12, right? That's basically what happened.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
look old enough to have been married 50 years, I have to admit.
Thank you.
I was
Yeah.
surprised when I heard that. So,
Good genes.
so all right. So talk to me. This will be our 26th year of marriage. I'm halfway there. So, what advice do you have for me for the next half?
So congratulations, by the way. You've certainly outpaced the norm. So
Okay.
the average marriage in the United States lasts 8 years.
Wow. The 7 year itch is real.
The 7 year itch is real.
Wow.
And I think almost every 7 years, actually,
Okay.
you get another breakout.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you could take Benadryl, and that might help.
Wow.
Um,
That's funny.
so, it's interesting because, you know, I I like thinking about things. I
Mhm.
like strategizing. And what's interesting at this point in my life is I like looking back and sort of figuring out why things worked or why things didn't work.
Mm.
Um, and in sort of looking back at 50 years, um, something something that my kids said. So I have two children, adults, both happily married, four grandkids.
Wow. That's awesome.
Um, but my kids thought that my wife and my relationship was, as they put it, unnatural. So what I,
That's
you know,
not
I,
what I expected
what
you to say.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
It meant that they looked at their friends' parents,
Hmm.
right? And their friends' parents never showed what PDA.
Okay.
There was no PDA. And I mean, we always showed affection.
Yeah.
But what they were pointing to is that we were always together.
Hmm.
I mean, my wife for most of my career managed the practice.
What percentage of dentists out there do you think are married at home and married at work? What do you see? Be an interesting number because I think
To
it's
the same
high.
per
I
to the
think it's
same per to the same person.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yes. Their wife runs the practice in some form or fashion, or the husband. I have clients, female dentist, husband runs the practices, plural
I do too.
sometimes. So I feel like that percentage is higher than people realize.
I think it's very high.
I think so too.
And I think it happens for the same reason that it happened by me. So my wife was a teacher by profession.
Hmm.
Um, Decided after she had kids that she didn't want to teach anyone else's kids. So she wanted to look for another profession. She was a math major in
Mm.
college. So she went to school to learn accounting,
Hmm.
which she hated.
Mm.
So at the it, at the exact same time, my then office manager, Kathy, moved away.
Mm.
And I said to Lori, I said, it's gonna
It fits.
Kathy is gonna move in
Yeah.
6 months. You come in, let her teach you the ropes, and you'll help us out.
Yeah. Perfect timing.
And she did that until I sold the practice to Columbia.
So how
And then
many years? How many years did you guys work together then?
so it was from 1982 until 1995. And then 1995 through when I left Columbia, which was 2004. From 2004 to 2010, all she did was bookkeeping.
Hmm.
Um,
But from
and,
82 to 2004, she was like fully involved up front.
oh yeah, oh,
Yeah.
was chief operations officer.
Yeah.
I mean, and she worked both for me and she worked for Columbia.
Okay.
So, and then and then when my partnership dissolved,
Hmm.
2010 till when I sold 2018, we worked together. So
Wow.
we worked together a lot.
That's a lot of years. I don't even know the math on that. That's 82. Let's say 82 to 18. 18 plus 18, 36 years.
Some about 34, I think 34 years
Okay.
we had figured it out. It's
Okay.
about 34 years
Okay.
that we worked together.
Hmm.
Um, and look, you know what? Ultimately, whether or not it's in a marriage or in a practice, it's teamwork.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's teamwork. And how do you make teamwork? Well, you have to have a common vision, you have to have common goals, and you have to have great communication.
Hmm.
So, early on, we decided that we would never go to sleep angry,
That's right. Us too.
right? Um, and what other rules did we have? We really didn't have any. I mean, we managed to have enough alone time, either, without the kids
Hmm.
and or without the office. Um, we we respected each other's sort of desires.
Hmm.
So she loves to travel.
Hmm.
So we traveled a lot.
Hmm.
Um, she indulged my various hobbies.
Was it cars? Was your thing cars? No, but you do know a lot about cars though.
I do know a lot about
Yeah,
cars.
I figured that meant you owned like cars throughout the years. No,
Well,
I mean, I mean like
I'm old,
more
so I had
than
plenty of cars.
more more at once than I'm talking like I'm not talking Jay Leno here, but yeah, I just figured because you know the Corvette thing and all that. That was yeah,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
never owned a Corvette.
No, but you do
Uh,
know about them.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was sort of my one day car.
yeah. Me too.
One
Me
day,
too.
and
Yeah.
then when the day came, I finally said I needed a chiropractor to come with the car. So I said, no,
No, not gonna do
it
it.
was, it just wasn't going to work
Wasn't
out
gonna
that way.
work at that point. Yeah, I hear you.
No, so I had hobbies. I collected rocks and
That's
minerals.
right. I remember you. Yeah, the
I
story.
was a rock
Yep.
hound.
Yep.
And I collected ancient biblical coins.
That's the one I remember too from the story you told about the coins. Yeah.
So I got into history
Mm-hmm.
um, through the coins, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been on digs.
So she put up that was a travel part for you, and you put them together.
So yeah, we went on a great dig.
Mm-hmm.
She had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she's a little claustrophobic also, which presented an issue
Me too.
when we went to a cave to dig.
Ah, oh
So
yeah.
she stayed outside
You tell
in
me
the
what you find. That would be me too.
and was sifting through the stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Case Western Reserve, the dental school, actually sponsored a dig in Israel. I think it's a famous dig. It was published in the journal Nature.
Mm.
Um, and I was friendly with the dean. We were sitting at some meeting we were at together, and Jerry looks at me. He says, I'm going to Israel this year. I'm going to do. We're sponsoring a dig," and my eyes must have like lit up. He said, "Are you
You wanna
interested?"
you wanna
I
go?
said, "Yeah, I'm interested." He said, you can come. I said,
Yeah.
really? And I'm out of there.
Mm.
So yeah, we dug in this cave where they were looking for signs of Neanderthal and hominid interaction,
Oh wow.
and they found some.
Oh
So
wow.
it's quite cool.
So I want to summarize what you've told us so far, and I'm going to add some flavor to it, just for my own. See if I'm on the right pace here. Okay. So common vision,
Time will
vision,
tell.
yeah, vision alignment, right? Yeah, exactly. If I make it, vision alignment, right? Vision alignment. So when Abby and I we do like premarital counseling because of her counseling background, therapeutic coaching, everything, and then typically through our church, we'll get assigned a couple to walk through. And one of the first things we talk about is you have to have the same vision for what you want for a marriage. Otherwise, you can't go in two opposite directions. You're
Do
constantly
you
playing
do
a tug
do
of
you
war.
do the do you that you do that counseling together?
Yeah, Abby and I together. Yeah, so we've got the engaged couple, and then we're taking them through a series of things. They take a. It's not really a compatibility test, but it's like where are they that have the biggest gap in how they think things will work. And you'll see like finances aren't important. Finances are very important. You go, okay, this is a topic that we need to talk about. So, but you have to have a common vision. Completely agree. So we call it vision alignment. Common goals, clarity of expectation. What are your expectations here from vacations and travel to the bedroom to the billfold, the finances, your faith, where do you want to live? These are things that people don't talk about. And you get into number three, great communication, right? Coaching. So if you think about your team at work, especially if you're working with your spouse, but think about it. You need vision alignment. You need clarity of expectation. You need to have great communication. And then lastly, what I would maybe tack onto is training and development. When you're in a marriage, you're actually in training all the time. You're going, oh my gosh, I still have room to improve. That's good feedback for me. Usually it's heard to me. And what I could do better as a parent, what I could do better and not take it personal. And not take it personal. That's the coaching side of it.
So
Yeah.
so and I guess I think that's alignment adjustment.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
things stuff happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the biggest alignment adjustment that we had. So I mean, you think about what happens with couples, and it
Mm-hmm.
happens in practices too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with couples, their alignment oftentimes revolve early on around family.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids leave the house. And if there weren't a sort of constant realignment, reassessing, reevaluation, resetting of the goals, kids leave the house,
Yeah.
boom, we have nothing in common anymore. The goal was to raise kids. Kids are gone already, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So
So what's so funny about that is this is like the first weekend in a long time that I can remember, maybe ever, where we're at home with no kids. Because my youngest is now usually have someone back from college or someone's visiting or whatever. And so my youngest is on a church boating retreat, like houseboat retreat till Tuesday tomorrow. And so we're like looking at each
go to
other.
Lake Powell.
Yeah, this is Lake Shasta. So they're on the lake there, and we're looking at each other, going, "It's really quiet here. What does this mean for us?" And we talked about it. It's like, okay, this is our future, 3 to maybe 7 years from now. This is our future of how this is going to be. What's that like? And so to break down what you're talking about with smarter goals, right? We all know the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, written, risky, time frame, whatever acronyms you use. But the important part is the ER on the end, that you evaluate and then you either reward or readjust. Yeah. So you're looking at those goals and go, all right, our vision has now changed, or the section of our vision is now changing into a new chapter. And how are we going to readjust now and communicate about that? My wife will say every Sunday, all right, let's look at the week. And me, I'm like, I have meetings all the time. We're going to have another meeting. She comes from a family of family meetings, and I come from a family of what did you do last week? So reactive, not proactive, and you really have to be proactive in those stages. Yeah.
So it was interesting. So first of all, when the kids were younger, they went to sleepaway camp in the summer.
Hmm.
And that was a little bit of a Vorspeise, a little view into the
The
future.
foreshadowing there. Yeah.
And I remember, so my son went away. He's the oldest. He went away, I think, when he was 9 or 10. And then my daughter wanted to go away when she was like 6. And my wife said, no, 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 two. Finally, at 7, she went away. And my wife was hysterical. I mean, the bus left and she's like crying. And then the next year, the bus turns the corner and my wife is, yay! Right.
Yeah. It's amazing how
So
that changes, huh?
right. So we did some really smart things. I mean,
Mm.
we were lucky. Both of our parents were alive. Um, my parents are relatively young. Um, they they took the
They
kids.
could have them,
So
yeah, and manage it. Yeah.
so at least once a year, at least
Mm.
once a year,
Yeah, that's great. That's such good
they took the
advice. Yeah.
kids and we went away.
Yeah.
So vacation as opposed to trip. Trip
Hmm.
with the kids,
Yeah.
vacation ourselves. So that was
It's important.
important because it acclimated us to the eventuality when there's just the two of us around.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that really helped back at that time was the observance of Sabbath.
Mm.
So Friday night
Friday night. Yeah.
till Saturday night,
Hmm.
family
Mm.
alone, and it forced us to talk.
Hmm.
There's no one else to talk to.
Mm.
And I think that was because we were not good. So you're lucky. Your wife forces structure upon you.
Mm.
So mine does. She forces cleaning upon me.
Yeah, that
Different
too.
kind of
Yeah.
structure.
But and you were also raising kids in this pre-technology age because I think your kids are my age. I mean, we had video games, but they weren't like this kind of video game. We had TV, but it wasn't like this. This is like technology is so in your face, and I think what the kids want to do is take that technology, which is really dangerous, take that technology and go into a hidden place.
Well,
And
so
yeah.
here's where I think the challenge is. I think we're raising, so you're doing things
Hmm.
smartly, okay, but not that many people do. In general, we're raising kids who don't know how to be a part of a team.
Hmm. Hmm.
So unless they're seeing teamwork in church or synagogue
Hmm. Hmm.
somehow, unless they see teamwork in organized sports, almost everything else in their lives are individual
Yeah,
and
classwork, school.
competitive,
Yeah.
so that it's I have to beat
Mm.
you. It's not a
Yeah.
zero-sum game,
Yeah.
right? I have to beat you in order to get into college,
Hmm.
right? My class ranking is important. There's a lot of that stuff. And then you get out into the world and you maybe you don't understand, but
Mm.
it's a team sport.
Yeah. So the family being a team is
Yeah.
a
And
great
and
training
it's not
ground.
just in our practices. I mean, look at
Hmm.
what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, there's so much that what you're talking about translates to practice. Even from I've got a team member, that at home things aren't healthy. And my wife will say all the time with her therapeutic coaching with clients, she'll say, you're not two people. You don't have home Eric and work Eric. You're one human being. How are you, should call them domains, check in each of these domains in your life, and how is Eric in each of those domains, and how are they affecting each other, and what's that correlation, and how do you get healthy in those? Because if you're not healthy at work, you're not going to be healthy at home. If you're not healthy at home, you're not going to be healthy at work. All of it has to be together. So taking what you're talking about in the personal life and saying, okay, that affects a professional life, and maybe you're married in both areas. And how do you do that? I worked for my father-in-law. That was interesting as well. So there's so many dynamics and so much mirroring that's happening with what you're talking about with teamwork, especially at home, can help the teamwork at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, we're both fans of the disk
Mm,
system. And I
yeah.
think, there's disc there. I don't know what there is now, but there used to be. I've been using disk for over 20 years.
Hmm.
There used to be disk social,
And disc
disk
work.
workplace.
Yeah.
And the theory then was, if the difference between, because they used to come up with numbers, right?
Hmm.
If the numbers are 25% off one social to workplace, that's a problem.
That's stressful. Yep. You're
That's
trying to be
really
something you're
stressful.
not. Yeah.
And we see that play out in your example, the teammate who has a problem at home.
Hmm.
Um, that we're human beings. It's really difficult for people to compartmentalize
Hmm.
and keep that stress out of this place, and or look to say, well, I'm going to balance out what's going on there here, so I need this place to provide some kind of additional fulfillment,
Hmm.
which
Hmm.
it may not.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's a balancing act. And marriage is even more complex than business.
Hmm.
Um,
And
so
let me ask you a question. How did you and Lori separate your time at home so that from work so it didn't feel like work was invading your home life?
yeah, so we had that. Thank you for reminding me, because we did have another rule.
Hmm.
The other rule is, we can talk. So I'd say half the time we used to drive home together.
Mm.
Um, Half the time we had separate cars, because
Hmm.
she came, I like early.
Mm.
So I came in early and I left late.
Mm.
She had other
Hmm.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
Um, so we could talk about it in the car.
Hmm.
Once we get home,
No more.
we don't, no more business.
Yeah.
No more
Yeah.
business. Now it bleed. Look, I mean, I had a a network that kept me really busy.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Not just the practice,
Yeah.
but some of the philanthropies that I
Hmm.
was help involved in,
Yeah.
um, and and teaching. So that was hard, but you need to have some kind of separation. And
Mm.
when we're away, when we're on that alone time, that battery recharge time,
Yep.
she once got really angry at me.
Only
So
once?
yeah.
That's pretty
So
good. Good
we,
job.
frankly,
Yes. Probably counted on one hand, probably, huh?
I can't.
Yeah.
The number of times we got like really angry.
Yeah.
She wasn't really angry.
Yeah.
So we decided we wanted. So we we like cruises.
Hmm.
Um, wasn't all, we didn't like our first cruise,
Okay.
but second cruise, which was up to Alaska,
Hmm.
hooked us. We
Yeah.
said, "Oh my God, this is great."
Yeah.
So, um, so we decided, my practice was in Midtown Manhattan. We really wanted to go to get away. So there's a cruise leaving from the piers in Manhattan
Hmm.
to Bermuda. Say,
Hmm.
you know what? It's a 4-day cruise. We went right from the office to the cruise, and we went right from the cruise back to the office.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
but I was in the midst of writing. I guess what the Tooth Fairy didn't tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was 2010. Um, and I finished writing it on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
She was not happy.
You were working.
I was working on the
You're on a
cruise.
trip and you're working. Yeah.
I needed to get that book
Mm-hmm.
finished.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah,
So
I let it.
I hear this from spouses more than from business owner, but from the spouses, they're always on their phone working. You know, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner, the phone now has created this 24/7 access point to running your business. And if you don't have a clock out time, that is a health barrier that you're breaking. And mental health, especially physical health with stress, all of that, and then also relational stress that you're breaking as well. You have to have a punch out time, a clock
Yeah,
out time.
so I think it's a matter of building an operational system.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you do, when do you do it, and how do you do it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, I think it's challenging now because of the connectivity that we all have. You know, it's
Mm.
on our wrists, in our pockets, it's in our ears. I mean,
Yeah.
we're like ultimately connected to everything else, and we see benefits to it, right? We if we didn't like it, we wouldn't do it.
Mm.
So it does feed some need that many
That's a
of us
good point. Yeah.
have.
But
And
usually that's
but it's
something,
dangerous.
yeah, usually that's something you enjoy, but it feels like a distraction for your spouse going, hey, what about me? And it's pulling you away. You have to lose something to gain something on the business side. Every time your business is winning, or you have to think about, is this creating a win for my family too?
Right.
And I'll be the first to say, you know, my phone is, it can be a problem during family time. I gotta really put it down. Because clients will just email when they email, they'll text when they text. You know, it's hard sometimes. So you have to really value that family time for sure. So I love what you said, and I want to relate it again back to dentistry. Get away as a team. You've got to get away.
So that's a big peeve of mine.
Mm.
So I look at so lots of dentists are CE junkies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And how many courses do they go to
Yeah,
with their team? Like
it's
none.
crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm like, so I don't know. I used to I used to lecture for Plan Mecca.
Mm-hmm.
So I lectured on how to choose a digital pan.
Mm.
How do you pick it?
Mm-hmm.
And you see this, you know, docs will go to a meeting, they'll see all these things, they'll have, you know, all list of all the bells and whistles that they want. And they go and they buy it, you know, because somebody told them that there's a tax benefit to buying it now, right? So you got to
Yeah,
buy it,
right now.
right? So they buy it. They're not the ones using it.
Yeah, they don't know what button to push. They don't know how
They
easy
don't.
it's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, they bring it back, and they, you know, the people that are going to use it are looking like, why did he buy? Why didn't he
Yeah.
buy it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't. If you're going to make a decision about something,
Yeah.
and the people, you need to include the people who are going to be
Yeah.
on the team
Yes.
that are going to help you implement.
Exactly. This is exact. I mean, we're speaking to each other's choirs here for sure, because, you know, our specialty is case acceptance training. It's customer service, it's relationship management, it's communication. Well, your team's doing a vast majority of that communication. And when the doctor is like, well, I want to work on my case acceptance skills, my case presentation skills, great. How does your admin do on answering the phone? You know, and so we just had our growth summit. We had 122 people in the room. Two doctors were there by themselves. Did not, oh no, three. The third one said, I'm coming back to your, we're doing one in Portland, Maine in October 26th, 27th. So we're doing a level one. He's like, I got to bring my whole team back. He's in Massachusetts. It's going to work perfectly for him. The other two were more CE junkies, you know, group practice owners, taking some things they could take back to their team. But what that's robbing them of is the experience of, because you bring back and try to tell your team something, they didn't have the same experience. They can't see the whole picture. Like, what are you trying to tell us?
So
So
it's that, and it's the experience
the team building
of being a
experience.
team
Yes.
outside the
Oh,
office.
so huge. So
It's
huge.
huge.
Yeah, yeah. So I would encourage those listening is thinking about, hey, my family vacations. Those are the memories that I have so much. When I think about my family, I think about the Disney World trips. I think about the Hawaii trips, those sorts of things. Your team, the same thing. When they think about their team, they think about those vacations. It could be CE though. It could be benefit. It's a return on investment for you, not only from a team building standpoint, but what are they bringing back to the practice to help your practice grow? And I mean, the continuing education budget is so low anyway, it's not going to break the bank. But if when you're not doing it, you're never going to get any growth from a substantial standpoint.
And I think it's important because it's also important because, like you said, customer service is a big deal, getting bigger, I believe, because the bar has dropped. So um, when you go, and again, also, the teams that we have don't necessarily come from the same socioeconomic backgrounds that the doctors came from.
Yes.
So what we think of when it comes to customer service may not be what they think of customer service. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're going tonight to a 3-star Michelin restaurant in Manhattan.
Nice, nice. Celebrating your 50th anniversary.
Celebrating 50th anniversary.
Congratulations.
I am so excited to
The
experience
customer service part of it. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm deducting it because it's a business expense.
Yeah. Because you're training. You're in
I am-
training.
So we've already communicated.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can take some notes.
the restaurant has already communicated to us.
Yeah.
I am taking lots of notes.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll let me take some pictures. I'll take some pictures.
Yeah.
But we've taken our staff as a team to places where they can experience.
Yes.
So my team went to Four Seasons. They went to great restaurants. We took them on a trip once to Nordstrom when Nordstrom first came to New York, all about customer service. We took them to Bergdorf Goodman's. That's the high-end store that Donald Trump accosted that woman.
Oh, jeez. That's what they're famous for.
Well, they are now. I bet there's a plaque in one of their dressing rooms.
Oh my gosh.
But my point is that I wanted them to experience it. And it wasn't just experience it. It was, okay, now we're going to sit down afterwards and we're going to talk about it. What did you experience? How did it make you feel?
Yeah. That's
and
good.
How can we make our patients feel just like that? Right. So yes, there are so many. When we would go to a course, I remember going to one in Salt Lake City, and we stayed at the Grand America. I don't know if you've ever stayed at the. So they built that. So they remember when the Olympics came to Salt Lake. The only way the Olympics would come was if they built a 4-star or 5-star hotel. There was none.
Oh, wow.
They built the Grand America.
Ah, okay.
For that. And there's a hotel across the street, Little America, owned by the same people, but not the same, not 5-star. So lots of the docs stayed in the Grand America, and they had their team stay across the street in Little America.
Oh,
I'm like,
you robbed them of that experience. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're defeating part of the purpose. Yes, they're going to come to this same hotel room, and get the lecture, but they're not going to have the experience of being in a 5-star.
You have to see it as a return on investment. You have to see that what you're giving them experience is going to pay back.
When we come to breakfast in the morning and the waiter would address me by name, like,
How'd you do that? Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. You pay attention? Yeah. Hi, have a seat. We'll be right with you.
Right. Good morning, Dr. Goldberg. Good
Yeah.
morning, Dr. Goldberg's team.
Yeah. When your new patient walks in the door, oh, hi, you must be Ricky Bobby. I'm Eric. Nice to meet you.
We
Welcome
spoke
to our
on the
practice.
phone.
Yeah, I talked to you on the phone. I was expecting you. I'm glad to see you. Nice to meet you face to face. Have a conversation with them. And this is the worst. You're on the phone. You know, we're not giving people our attention. Just say, just subtle changes that you do that are just so different in the long run, but you have to be conscious and aware of those things.
And so I said, the bar is getting lower. And
Mm-hmm.
part of and it's going to stay low
Mm.
because of AI,
Yeah.
right?
Things are going to do more for me.
Everything that can be replaced by AI, every human encounter that can be replaced with AI will be, and people are going to be starving for that attention that you spoke of,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for that human touch. So,
Yes. Yes. So, customer service. Here's what I wrote while you're saying that's exact same thing, right? Instead of what can I get from this relationship? So, think about marriage and customer service with your patients, the similarities, or even teamwork. What can I get from this relationship? Instead, if you're in a healthy marriage, that's actually not what you're thinking. You're thinking, what does this other person need from me in the relationship, and how can I provide that? The law of compensation will take care of itself after that, right? So when you think about team members, what is this relationship? What does that person need from me? Provide that. Whatever you want, give it away. You've got to give that. They want me more loyal. They need loyalty. I'm going to show them loyalty. They want friendship. I'm going to be interested, not interesting. Same with my patient. What does the patient experience require? Listen to your phone calls. Record your case presentations. When we do our Speak Like an All-Star program, we do speaking skills. You get a 3-minute recording of yourself. You can have 2 of them, and your homework is to watch it back with no sound. Watch your body movement. Second piece is to so you're going to listen to it without watching yourself. You're going to listen to the words you use and that you repeat. And number 3, you're going to transcribe. You're going to write everything out. You're going to cross off the words that diminish your value, and you're going to highlight the ones that empower your value. So think about in terms of my customer service. Am I listening to what I'm saying? Have I had an out-of-body experience? Do I record it somehow? How am I paying attention to who I am? And in your marriage, think about that conversation you just had. You ever have, for my wife and I'll speak from our experience, why are you yelling at me? I'm not yelling, but it's the tone of voice that you use that changes the perception from the other person.
you touched on something I want to reinforce
Mm-hmm.
because I just stumbled on this.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about transcribing
Mm-hmm.
what you say,
Yeah.
and we record our clients' phone calls, or we have them
Yes.
have somebody record it, but we look at it. What we do also is we transcribe it,
Okay.
and you have to listen because you'll listen for the words, but you're also listening to tonality, which is maybe more important. But when you transcribe it, you're actually looking at the words.
Mm. Yes.
And we just changed we had a client where, as we're reading the transcription, they're talking about the first visit as being a consultation.
Mm.
And I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's a
diagnose.
diagnostic
Yeah.
visit. First of all,
Yeah.
specialist, TMJ specialist.
Mm.
It's a 90-minute visit.
Yep.
All right. It's not a consultation.
Yeah. You're setting the wrong expectation. Yeah.
And you're not building value.
Mm-hmm. For the 90 minutes. Yeah. What are you going to be doing there? Yeah.
Or for it, and it didn't make a difference what they charged for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're calling it a consultation, I mean, you see
Devalues it. Yeah.
free consultations all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
people say if you call it a consultation, people might associate it with free.
Mm-hmm.
Anything more than that, you're going to get blowback.
Yeah.
So don't call it a consult. But I didn't appreciate that, really. until I read it on the transcript.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge value of doing exactly what you said about just listening, transcribing, just watching, so that you can evaluate all the components of communication.
Mm.
So I think that's
Yeah,
great.
so good. I'm going to put here transcription. Yeah. I think AI can have its purpose in customer service support because this is an example of that, the transcription of it. There's feedback that can be given to you in that format as well.
Yeah, someone sent me something over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't explored it yet.
Mm-hmm.
A company that's doing just that.
Yeah. Was it Patient
So
Prism?
no, it's not
No,
Patient
different,
Prism.
different one. Okay.
But I know Patient Prism has something like that
Yeah.
also, where
Mm-hmm.
they use AI
Mm-hmm.
to sort of determine who
Yep.
called, who spoke, who answered,
Yep.
certain keywords
Yeah.
that they're looking for.
And they immediately, I love it because they immediately give you feedback and they know the value of that phone call, the dollar amount, what was said. They know if the patient's scheduled, and they actually give each team member a batting average on their success rate of converting callers and dollars won, dollars lost. I mean, there's so much analytics that go into it. You can really dig deep. But the point being is, what words am I using? What tone of
So
voice am I using?
while you were in Miami, I was
Mm-hmm.
in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was running this from Hello to Hugs workshop.
Yeah.
Um, and unfortunately, there were more doctors than there were team.
Yeah.
Pissed me off.
Yeah.
um, and
Mm.
I played a recording.
Oh, nice. How long was it?
It was, I don't know, maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yep.
Um, that call could have cost that practice $155,000.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have if it weren't for the fact that we were listening to the phone calls and we caught it and we wound up calling the patient back and making nice.
Mm.
But totally blown. Totally blown.
Mm.
And, listening to these things, I try to also analyze, why, first of all, we do a crappy job training people. And I know Heather does a great job training people on the phone.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's hard, and so we're not, we're not hiring right because we're hiring probably the least paid person in the office answers the phone.
Mm.
Think about that. The person who's controlling the entire flow of patients into your practice is the least paid person in the practice. Hello. Right?
Yeah.
And they're not, and then they're saying, oh, listen to Joan here. Watch her, listen to her. So whatever mistakes Joan is making, the new person's going to make also. Or worse, you hire somebody with some experience and then you're getting all the bad problems that the other person had.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
training,
and you're
training, training
it's
is
osmosis, right? It's this. Even think of it like your accent. When you grow up in an area, you're going to have that similar accent, and when you're around people who are saying things a certain way, you're going to start saying those same sorts of things, wrong or right. You're going to adopt those principles, just like in a marriage. You're going to start talking the same way. You're going to have the same sort of things, and we'll wrap up with this. A couple things. Let's wrap up with a couple things. But number one, I will say this: my wife doesn't like everything about me. She doesn't like everything. She doesn't have the same likes that I have. She has no desire to do what I do and things that I do, like the fish tank or whatever, or the cars or golfing, right? You don't need to like every single thing about that. But if you have the right why, you have the right purpose behind that person you're married to, the right vision for it and the why of it, you'll appreciate that they have their own likes. My wife is very particular about certain things in the house, how they're done. I'm very particular about different things in the house. And I wonder, why doesn't she do this? One little thing, she'll use like 6 dryer sheets for the dryer. And I'm like, I'm going to put one in and just show her that she's not going to notice a difference in the feel of the these little things that are different. That doesn't have to be a big thing. We're just different in that. It's okay. And think about that in terms of your team. At the end of the day, my fabric, those clothes are soft, so are my wife's. At the end of the day, does your team get the new patient scheduled? There's slight variabilities in how you do that. It's, does the patient have a great experience, and do we get them scheduled? Are they getting healthier? Sometimes there's a lot of similarities, overlap. We both use a dryer. We both use dryer sheets. We both run for the same amount of time, but there's slight variations that to get it done. So don't think everything has to be perfectly done just like this box, because now you're restricting your person from thinking outside the box and getting growth opportunities. You also don't need to be angry with them if they do it slightly different and get great results.
What's a dryer? No.
Do you hang everything up?
My wife kids me because I have no clue.
You don't, you're like, what are you talking about right now? I load the dishwasher a very particular way.
A desire to please,
yeah,
is, I think, the single greatest attribute you can look for in a team member. When marriages fail, when teams fall apart, it's because someone put their own needs above the team's needs.
Yep. Yeah. The ego got in the way, the selfishness, something like that. Yeah. So good. Well, I really appreciate your wisdom on this. I know people listening do as well. I will say that our leadership retreat, it's January every year, January 26th, 27th, our leadership retreat. Doctors, of course, office managers can enroll as well. But I will say this: if your spouse is involved in your business, which they ought to understand, they are able to join for free at no charge at this course. We allow 20 doctors in this course, and their spouses can come for free.
So you know what? I would say, Eric, that even if they're not involved, they are involved peripherally.
Yep. They're affected by it. Yep. Yeah.
You know, I say my wife was the COO of Goldberg Inc. It was
all of it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So
they're involved.
If you're hearing this and you want to get control of your business, you want to work on your leadership skills, you want to make sure your vision's healthy and so on, just reach out to us. And
what's it going to be?
We're looking at 3 locations, and I don't want, it's definitely going to be in the southeast. I will tell you, very warm and it's either going to be very nice retreat place for golf, or it's going to be very nice beach island type feel. So we're looking at some places to see where we're going to have this. But we want it to be a retreat where you would go with your spouse, and you might go beyond the 2 days that we're having this retreat and have some time on either end to work on these things that we're talking about, to recognize that your marriage, your life is connected with your practice. Or you might be a single doctor who wants to know, how do I even do this? Because I'm young and I don't even know where I'm going with this. And you want some mentorship in that. So Dr. Ted Morgan, Dr. David Peer, and myself lead that 2-day retreat every January. And we're back to doing things in person. So we figured, let's have this done well. So you can go to allstardentalacademy.com/events and you'll see all those dates. So
cool.
All right, awesome. And of course, leadership coaching, right? Leadership coaching is a key factor in continuing that process. Yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for this. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary. That is amazing.
I'll send you the notes from
I can't wait to hear the notes. Send me a picture of the restaurant. I'm very jealous, so I can't wait to hear more. All right, awesome. Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye.